Hi everyone, I'm Sandra and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to talk about a big decision I've made and a life update that I'm sharing with you guys. So this video is not going to be like my other videos. It's going to be a bit more storytelling and a life update. I made a big decision recently. I've decided to leave my current job and I put a notice of my last day. It's coming up on April 18th. You know, I've spent over 20 years as an engineer in the aerospace defense industry. And this, for the first time ever, I don't have another job lined up. And I know this kind of goes contrary to a lot of what I talk about. I always advocate for get another job while you have a job. Line up a job before you leave a job. But I am going with my gut and sticking with my values and principles. And I've decided to leave a role that doesn't align with me anymore. I'm scared, yet also excited for all the new possibilities that may come. I have no idea what the future holds for me. But the other reason why I wanted to make this video is I do want to catalog some of my feelings in this nebulous time and space for me. Let me start off by saying I am super grateful for the job I have and for all the experiences I've had as an engineer. I know sometimes people think the fact that I want to do this financial coaching business means I hate engineering, or I'm super burnt out, or I don't want to do it anymore. I think there's nothing farther from the truth. I think people can have different chapters of their lives. People evolve and grow. I also believe not everyone's meant to do the same thing their entire life. Sometimes they find something they want to do later on in life, and it's not always a bad thing to pivot or change or to explore multiple career opportunities or passions. So I just want to be very clear, I'm still very grateful to be an engineer. Whether I take my next position in engineering or not, I'll still always feel like I am one because that's what I studied and trained to be, and I've done that for most of my life. And admittedly, it's a huge part of my identity. It's a large part of what I associate with. A lot of my colleagues, friends are engineers primarily. And the one thing I'll always miss the most from practically every single job is the people. I always miss the people. I don't always miss the work. I don't always miss management sometimes, but it's the people that make every job really worthwhile. I also feel engineering has given me a big platform on which I can speak about personal finance, specifically for women in STEM. I also feel it's given me so many opportunities in life. I've been able to speak at conferences. I've been able to make a better than average salary, and that's really useful, especially as a single mother. I've been able to grow professionally. I've been able to learn so many new things. I've been able to learn about leadership, and I've developed more as a person, as an engineer. So I'm never ungrateful for the experiences and opportunities that I've had. Now moving on to why I'm leaving my current role. I've been in my current role for over a year, and I do work for a large Fortune 500 company. I work remote. I'm paid very well. So I am grateful for all those things. So on paper, it looks like it's a great role. But over time, I realized I just don't align with the management. I don't always have their support. And when I feel I don't have my management support, the things I work on don't really succeed. And when I started looking at what I truly value in a job and a role, I realized growth is very important. Also, really good supportive management. And when I realized I didn't have supportive management and I didn't really have a way to grow because I felt the project I'm working on was not going to succeed because I did not have management support, I started to realize really all I have left is a salary and that I work remote. Those are really the only perks. Oh, also I have to mention, I did have some friends and people I talked with almost daily, and they had all left my team. So a lack of other friends and people to talk to on the team, management support, and growth were probably the three big reasons why I felt I shouldn't stay anymore. And believe me, I wrestled with this decision. I didn't take it lightly. I had a series of talks with other people in management about ways that they could improve things or how maybe things could change where I could potentially stay. But in the end, I think it's not even just a certain incident that happened. It was just a number of things that are systemic to the entire culture and management of my team, where I just didn't see how I had enough of a say-so to make a change or dent in any of these things. And as much as maybe management was sincere about wanting to change certain things, I just don't think they can. They just didn't quite see eye to eye with me on certain different things that I saw. So unfortunately, I made the decision that I don't take lightly, and that is to leave my current role. And it's been a roller coaster of emotions. I admit there are times when I felt really sure of my decision, felt really happy about it, super excited about this unknown future that I'm jumping into. And then other times when I felt uncertain and I regretted it, and I felt resentful, and I felt, why should I have to leave a team and feel like I'm getting pushed off? But in the end, I've come to the conclusion I can't change a whole team and its culture. If I'm going to stay, I either have to evolve to be more like them and stop complaining and be content with that, or I'm gonna stay and always be unhappy and discontent with the team and how things are. Or my third option is to leave and to seek a better situation or work environment. Lately, I've been obsessed with this concept, a liminal space. I heard this word mentioned in a conference I went to last year where the speaker was talking about he was leaving his pastoral career for the first time ever. And not only was he leaving his career, he didn't really know what else he would do next in the future. He was going to leave his home state. And he was just in this state of the unknown, a bit of limbo. You're excited about the future, but then you're nervous about the future. You don't know what's coming next. And I've been thinking a lot about that, and I realize I've been in this liminal space lately. I'm in a period of transition where I know I'm leaving, and I'm leaving a job, and I'm kind of happy, but also sad, but I also don't know what's really coming next. It's an uncomfortable space sometimes, and for people who are very wired for certainty, I can see why people avoid these spaces, and they don't like being in limbo, they don't like the uncertainty. But it's also a space filled with possibility. It's a space filled with growth. It's a space filled with where I get to craft and dictate the next chapter of my life. Some of the influences I had that helped me make this decision was I was reading a couple of books by Paul Millard. Go look him up. He wrote a book called The Pathless Path, and his latest book is called Good Work. And it really helps you reflect on what is the meaning of work. Is everything just all about making the most money and income for other people? And The Pathless Path is a bit about, he took this journey from being a high-paid strategy consultant to being self-employed, to doing a lot of gig work, to teaching courses online and moving abroad, and how you kind of trade in this certainty, and sometimes you're leaving money on the table in order to gain so much more. Contentment, peace, clarity about what you really want to do, more alignment with your values. In addition to, I spent some time journaling about what I truly wanted. Of course, I did the classic pros and cons list, which I'm not sure is the best thing to do all the time, but it does kind of lay out, what do you like about a situation? What do you not like, right? And when you have to put it down in words, you're getting out of your head sometimes and truly thinking about, what do I like about this situation and what do I don't? It's sometimes looking at it on paper and just looking at the pros and cons, it makes it kind of clear, how happy are you with your situation? So I'm embracing uncertainty. I am usually a person that I would say I'm a little more risk averse than some engineers, but probably not totally. My risk meter is not totally broken, so I usually do err on the side of caution. Like I said, I usually like to have a job lined up before I leave another job, and I'm taking this leap into the unknown. This leads me into the next point. Why can I do this, and why am I okay with some uncertainty? Because I wouldn't say everybody should do this, but I will say I do have a certain level of financial stability. Years of intentional saving, becoming entirely debt-free, and having this goal of financial independence where I can finally call the shots, it's really giving me the freedom and security where I can step away from a job that's not making me happy. And when I started thinking about how can I do this and live off savings maybe for a tiny bit, I started thinking, well, what was the whole point of doing all this stuff? Getting very financially stable, building up savings, becoming debt-free, if I can't make some of these big decisions in life that will lead maybe to more long-term happiness and contentment, but in the short term, maybe kind of uncomfortable. And this really reinforces my message of financial empowerment and helping other people do the same. I think of all the other, not even just engineers, just people working in jobs where they're not entirely happy, where they feel like they have to stay. They're the breadwinner, they're making the income for their family, and there are things that they're unhappy about, but they truly can't make a decision or vote because honestly, they're voting according to the dollars, right? And it's kind of eye-opening. As I was announcing my last day at work, I've had some very candid conversations with some colleagues. And it's interesting how some colleagues disclosed similar feelings of discontent and unhappiness and how maybe they felt slighted by someone in management. But the problem is they don't have the financial security where they can make that bold decision to say, I'm leaving, I have nothing else lined up. And what's also interesting is when I'm at work talking with my management about leaving, their number one question is, where are you going next? And what's interesting is if I had named a certain place I was going next, and honestly, if I told them a certain salary amount, they would probably match or beat that. But what's scary to them is I'm saying, I don't have anything lined up next. I don't know what's coming. I'm not sure. All I'm really certain of is I don't want to work here. And if you think about it from their perspective, they're also thinking, how are we going to spin this story of her leaving, right? They're thinking, what are we going to tell people when people ask, why did Sandra leave? They want a story where they can say, she left for more money. She left for a better opportunity. But they're not going to be able to say that. And I think that also scares people at a company. They're used to people staying for a paycheck, right? And doing whatever they say for the sake of $1 and a salary and an income. And when they're realizing like, whoa, we cannot buy Sandra with a salary or income, it kind of them scared because they know that I kind of have the power in that situation. I know it sounds odd, but I think that's what's truly empowering about it. I wasn't secretly courting all these other job opportunities and had something else in the works and lined up and just pulled the plug. It's just that I'm going to an uncertain future, and that scares a lot of people. What's next for me? Well, I do want to focus more on my financial coaching business, Prosperous Panda, where I financial coach women in STEM one-on-one to help them hopefully also be financially independent where they don't have to work at places they don't want to work or in situations or roles that don't suit them. So I'm excited about expanding that impact. I'm not exactly sure how right now. That's another part I need to figure out. I don't make quite enough yet in my financial coaching business, so I'm going to have to supplement that income somehow in the meantime while I also build that. But I don't know if the next role will be an engineering position. I don't know if it could be in a totally different type of industry or using an entirely different skill set. I'm kind of eager to see what else is out there. My expenses are pretty low, so that also really benefits me in addition to having a nice cash cushion. But I do know that anytime I do pick a role, and I've done this before in the past, I have the luxury of being pickier than other people. I know it's not all about just taking a role for a higher paycheck or a higher income. I'm going to be really evaluating who and where and what type of work I do, and is going to satisfy me in the long term, in addition to helping whoever I impact or help in that role. And as I get older, to me, working is a lot more about the impact of the role and not just having a certain income, title, or position. So what are some lessons that we can all learn from this? I'm really encouraging any of you out there to listen to your inner voice sometimes when it comes to these big changes in life. As I'm normally a pretty analytical person, On one hand, it's easy to just stay for the guaranteed salary and for the guaranteed security of a 9-to-5 job. But I also realize it's good to listen to my instincts. And when I feel something is not serving me and it's not fulfilling me in a way, I need to really listen to that rather than just looking at the numbers and what it looks like as a resume or how my LinkedIn profile looks. Sometimes the hardest decisions can lead to the most rewarding journeys. I'm excited to get to the other side of this because I know this period of discomfort is going to help me grow. It's going to help me not be so associated to just being an engineer, to just having a title, to just having that income and salary. This is really going to push me to look into what I really want to do with my limited amount of energy and time left on this earth. Who do I want to help and who do I want to serve? I invite all of you, whether you're a woman in STEM or not, to drop some messages in the comments for me. Like I said, this is a very uncertain time period for me. If you have any advice or encouragement, even if you have some words of caution, that's totally fine. I'd love to hear your stories of career changes or pivoting or big leaps in life. I also like to remind you, please like or subscribe my content. It really means so much to me as I'm growing my YouTube channel. It's a little bit that you can do to pour into me so I can pour back into you. See you in the next video.